Hi guys, I'm Shmi and hello to you from Dubai, where today we're visiting Top Line Motors. Now the other day I was filming a video, supercar shopping here in Dubai, visiting some dealerships and checking out the car scene. This was one of my stops and we took a look at the 2004 Ford GT, the first generation of GT, and realised while we were talking about it that up to this point I've not actually driven one. Given I've got the second generation, the 2017 car on order, it made sense to pop back to the showroom, have a look at the car and take it out for a test drive. So we're going to go inside in a second, have a look, I'll show you around it, talk about some of the stats, then we're going to go for a drive in the Ford GT. This is the car then. So parked right here, just ready to take outside. And alongside it is a GT X1, the convertible version as well. We're gonna come back and talk a little bit more about this when we return. Let me tell you basically the backstory behind Ford GT and where it all started. So the Ford GT40, 1966, well 66, 67, 68 and 69, 4 times winner of the 24 Hours of Le Mans. This car was built or introduced in 2003 at the centenary of Ford, so their 100-year anniversary, as a sort of homage to that GT40. It's actually 3 inches taller to make it slightly more usable, so technically it could be the GT43, but it's named just GT. So this is actually a 2005 model year car. They were built in 2005, 2006, but introduced technically as 2004, of course. There are 4,038 of them in total. The initial production run was expected to be 4,500, but finished slightly sooner than anticipated. It's a mid-engined rear-wheel drive supercar, of course. At the back, there is a 5.4 litre supercharged V8. I'll show you actually that in here with the engine bay open. 6-speed manual gearbox. And the standard car, so the GTX1 actually has a little bit more power, but the standard car, this car being completely stock, 558 PS, 678 Newton meters of torque. So some pretty big numbers. That means 0 to 62 miles an hour, 100 kilometers an hour, 3.5 seconds, and a top speed of 205 miles per hour. Now, one of the kind of distinctive highlights is doors, which have this sort of panel into the roof. So I can open up this car. You can see how that sort of one-piece door opens up. You obviously have to be very careful when you close it, not to slice your head off. But the reason for this is so that you can put one hand on here, one hand up here, and basically jump in, swing your legs in, all sort of inspired, of course, by racing. The interior is pretty crazy. The car is spectacularly low. You can see the carbon back seats here, basically right down on the floor. The gear stick positions and sort of points towards the driver. The speedometer is there in the center. It's not right in front of you. You've just got the information like the rev counter and that kind of stuff going on there. The engine is literally right behind your head. You can see it sort of mounted literally right in there. And the whole thing just looks pretty darn awesome. So the 2017 car, the new one, is heavily sort of themed around this. It obviously looks like an updated version of this first generation car. And I am very, very excited about it. And it's also really, really cool to look back and see some of the sort of highlights in here. And you know what? I'm going to show you this one thing. The headlights, as you can see, basically read 100 for the 100th anniversary. How cool is that as a little sort of feature and detail there? This car cost $140,000 when it was new. Price went up to $150,000 the following year. There weren't that many options available. The forged wheels, racing stripes, a couple of other sort of small things, but all cars basically pretty highly equipped, and it seems like that's going to be the same kind of setup for the new one. So then, let me jump in. I have the key in my hand here, which is just the regular Ford key, super lightweight. Let me take a swing in here. It's obviously not the easiest car to get in. You need basically two car park spaces, because otherwise this is going to be up in your head, and you have to duck slightly so that you don't slam your head with that. But when you're sat in, it's very I guess super modern for the time. I mean, this car came out basically when the Carrera GT came out, same sort of thing. Press the clutch pedal. I'm just going to start it up for the moment with the start engine button right here, and we're into life. You can see it's very sort of functional. but also really cool in design. And there are so many inspirations in the new car that I can see that have come out of this one. Like, so many in terms of the design. So obviously I'm looking forward to driving my future car, but this is going to be very, very exciting to drive, just for the history and what this car is and how it represents Ford basically beating Ferrari at Le Mans. So let's take it out of the showroom and then go for a drive. Out into the sunshine, looking very nice. The white with blue stripes. And the noise of the V8 burbling away. On board the GT then, I'm joined by Nader, the owner of Topline. Thank you very much for letting me take it out.
You're most welcome.
You are, I guess, pretty experienced driving the GT. You've driven a couple of them.
Oh yeah, I did, and I used to ride them on the track, and I love them so
and
much.
Do you know what? It immediately feels so much like the kind of car you should be driving on the track. You've got this tiny steering wheel, which is, well, it's really small.
Yeah.
But you feel like you've got a lot of grip, you've got a good view of where the wheel positioning is over the front buttress.
True.
You feel like you're driving a monster. Like
yes.
a complete monster.
I agree.
This is the flipper shift. That gear stick I find a little bit funny, the way it's, the angle of it. I mean, it's a little bit strange because you're used to gear shifters being right in the middle, but the way it's pointed slightly towards you actually makes it super easy to reach and slot it into gear straight away.
True.
When you've got used to the sort of natural position of where third is. But I'm going to put my foot down just for a moment here and experience a little bit of what this car is capable of. You can feel the supercharger coming in. Yeah, not bad. You've got a lovely clunk on the gear shift when you slot it in.
I know.
That feels really, really nice. We don't have that in the new one though. The new one just the double clutch.
You got the pedal clutch, the double clutch, which is different kind of feeling and enjoyment.
Completely, but this is, well, built for driving experience as well as, I guess, racing.
Yep.
With what the market had back when this came out, and it feels so strange because it wasn't that long ago.
True.
But technology in cars is moving on. So I love that. I love that. The V8. It sounds so raw. It sounds so like.
Isn't it? It's amazing.
I want to kind of say agricultural, but not in a bad way. It's just raw engine noise.
True.
And I haven't yet gone close to putting my foot down and seeing what the car is capable of in any way, shape or form. A little bit of traffic here, but I mean, driving quite gently is actually quite civilized, perhaps more so than I anticipated. Like that. Fourth gear has gone completely silent.
Very smooth, like you're driving like a normal everyday car. It is.
With even at 40 miles an hour, foot down in fourth, there's a little bit of torque pulling us away.
True.
And once you've dropped the gear, off you go, and I like seeing the boost gauge.
Yeah. The good thing is about it, like they have the old school classic, and you never get bored from it.
No, it's really cool. I love how you've got the mile per hour, the speedometer gauge, obviously being a US car, miles first, kilometers second, but positioned there, like, it's different. Like, you don't have that in any other car.
Nope. And everything towards to the driver, you know, just to be focused.
Everything points exactly that. Yeah, the gear shifter pointing at you, the speedometer pointing at you. It's quite a big car. There's no question about that. The mirrors on this generation are tiny, and mirror regulations and things is kind of destroying new cars because they have to have these massive, great big things sitting on the sides, where all you want is a little camera and a digital display that shows you.
Absolutely right.
But inside is really modern. I mean, for the age, if you compare this to any other car of that age, this is futuristic, like crazy. These toggles and switches and things.
See, the good thing about it, I don't think it does age anymore, because this is already a classic look, and no matter what you're gonna do or buy right now, this is gonna be always the ultimate. This is why I love them so much.
Do you know what? I have a mad craving for one of these.
Oh, really?
At some point already. I feel like the new one needs to be accompanied by an old one.
Oh, okay.
But the values are appreciating big time, aren't they? I know it was 140,000 when it came out US. Now I think it's 400,000 or 500,000 for one of these.
It's between 300 to 500, exactly. Yeah. That's what it is.
Depending on spec and mileage, I guess. And nearly all of the original cars were US. Were they not all US?
All US.
So they had to be exported.
Exactly.
I think they had like a tiny, if I remember rightly, they had a tiny run of cars that they sent to the rest of the world, but pretty much they were all US spec.
Right. Yeah, you're absolutely right. This is lovely. It's all standard stock, by the way. There's no exhaust system, nothing. Natural aspirated, I mean supercharged. It's beautiful.
Yeah, just a car Ford built in America to say, hey Ferrari,
Ferrari, we can do it too.
There you go.
Just like they did in the 60s.
Exactly.
In fact, the GT40 is the only American car that has ever won at Le Mans, which
True.
I think is really cool. And I mean, when Ford went back this year, I mean, it's like history was
Repeats
there
itself.
to be written and be repeated. Yeah, the new GT coming back and winning the 24 hours of Le Mans.
I believe this is the only mid-engine American muscle they built. This is the only one, I
Is
believe,
it?
if I'm not mistaken. What other cars, American muscle, they did the mid-engine?
I can't think of anything straight off.
That's what I think so. I'm not sure, but I think so.
And there's the supercharger. Okay, it's quick, isn't it?
It is.
And it's such a cool power feeling as well with the supercharger.
And the
swinging
good
up.
thing, you feel like you're part of the road. You like when you're slow, and it's 43.
You feel super low.
Exactly, and it has a lot of grip and nice downforce and aerodynamics with the diffuser. It's a beautiful ride. It's a beautiful car to ride.
Turning is nice too. It feels quite weighty. You feel but in a positive way. You feel sort of a lot of response from the steering angle.
True. See, in the new cars, like you find all the electronics plays with, and this is natural. That's what we're looking for. You don't see this with the new cars. You don't feel it.
No.
I believe the new Ford GT is not going to be the same exact feeling. I would love to have a new one, but this is absolutely more raw, and I love driving it.
Come over to the UK and have a go at mine when it comes.
I hope so. Once I come there, I'm definitely going to come visit you.
Maybe I can do something crazy, given it will be left-hand drive only. I can bring it out here.
Oh, wow.
That's my dream.
Yeah.
It would be so cool to bring
It'd be awesome.
a UK car to the Middle East. The reverse of what I film in London. But no.
That'd be awesome.
Enjoying this drive an awful lot. I think it's also as much what it represents, the history of it, the reason for being of this car, and why it came back, why they made it to celebrate 100 years of Ford, to the 40th anniversary when it was released of the GT40 winning.
True.
Setting the precedent and trend for what is to come with new GT.
Really so about that. But then we can see it in Le Mans. They did a very good job. They went first, third, fourth place. So I assume it's going to be a really good car. Even though it's a 6-cylinder, not like this V8.
Yeah. You know, a lot of people are caught up on that. The change from the supercharged V8 to the twin turbo V6 is a completely different. Well, I mean, if you think about it, there's not that much actually to match up between the two, although they look vaguely similar.
Exactly.
And they're rear-wheel drive mid-engine supercars, of course, but very, very different gearbox and powertrain setups.
I agree.
But I'm looking forward to having a go in the new one.
I know that you're going to be a lot of fun with that new one, but
yeah, for sure. Anyway, thank you very much for the opportunity. Appreciate it.
You're most welcome, buddy. You're most welcome. Anytime. Enjoy.
We're back at the dealership and we're going to take a look inside the engine bay. So to pop this up, it's a clasp on the inside. Lifts up slightly, then there's some catches. I've got this side. Yep. Up it goes. That's really cool. And the way the doors are open like that, you have it's a completely unique thing, isn't it? The way it just looks like this. Amazing.
Check this out.
And the front too.
This how it opens.
And you get a little storage compartment with a car cover in it. Transformers and a half right there. Let's come and have a look at this. Come around to the side just so you can see it all completely open. That is pretty awesome. Love it. Okay then, let me start closing all of this back up. Drop the bonnet down, close the door. It is so cool the way those shut. And we'll pull the rear clam down as well. It's gonna go down and then clicks on both sides down. So we come around to the other side quickly. Click. And do you know what? I just think it's so awesome how you literally have the pulley of the engine right there behind you. It's literally like centimeters away. This car is the 550 horsepower. Ford actually offered another 100 horsepower upgrade from Ford themselves, so you could have 650 horsepower out of it. But that has been an awful lot of fun. I suppose one of the strange things, it's not quite as fast as I guess I've become used to with the modern sort of really, really quick stuff, but it's a very kind of engaging drive, and it's just amazing how that technology has influenced, and you hear people talking about it all the time, how things are changing in this respect. But I've really enjoyed this. We're going to head now inside the showroom and have a look at the GTX 1. Let us take a look then at the very rare Ford GT X1. So this is a conversion done by the Gennady design group, taking the roof off the GT. They intended to make 100 of these. There are less than 50 that ever made production, but you can have it either with this fabric roof or with a removable hardtop. That's not everything though. It also has the power upgrade, so it's running 700 horsepower with the coolant for the gearbox. There's some sort of carbon fiber that's been added, so you can see the side skirt is in carbon. The underside here of the rear deck you can see is carbon fiber, the diffuser as well back there down at the bottom. And this car doesn't have that sort of horrible bumper attachment as well that the US spec had. It's got racing brakes on it, and this colour was the launch colour of the GTX1 that Gennady chose at SEMA. So there are 11 that are painted in this colour. They're taken from the original GTs and then converted over. So we had a quick look at this the other day. It's a very, very cool machine, and rarity value pretty high up there as well. Let's whistle stop tour around, see what else is going on in here. We've got the two 993s, then we've got a lineup of 991 GT3 RSs, the ultraviolet, which I think is just awesome, the white and the lava orange at the end. Then we've got a V12 Vantage, McLaren 650S Coupe, the rare coupe I can say because most of them were ordered as spiders with the pinstriping, a 12C, and coming through we've got a 612 BMW M2, and the most obscure thing, which is the Plymouth Prowler, which is just unusual, and in the sort of golden paintwork is quite bold. So this has been a lot of fun coming in, having a go in the Ford GT, discovering Ford GT and getting started on, I guess, my adventure towards the second generation car. I do like it in the white and blue. It's going to be an interesting decision to have to be made as to what colours I'm going to go for mine when the time comes. But I've been looking forward to driving this, so I really appreciate the guys here at Top Line Motors having me along again to take the GT out for a drive and learn a little bit about where this car comes from and what's involved. Maybe one day I'll get to drive a GT40 or GT40 replica as well. Let's go even further back in the storyline. But that is it for now. Thank you very much for joining me on my test drive of the Ford GT. I'll catch up with you again very soon with some more awesome content from here in the UAE. Thanks for watching. Cheers.